Hey there guys, welcome to the next video here on the channel. Welcome to the next tutorial. Over the past, I think about year and a half, ever since I went to the Duct Tape Festival, not this year, but the year before that, there was a safari theme and I made a safari hat for the festival. Every now and then I get a request to make a tutorial for it. So that's what I'm going to be making in this tutorial. I'm going to be using mostly the beige duct tape. That's the same color I used for the hat. And let's get started here on making it. Alright, so for your first step, all you really need to do is take, a measuring tape or, one of those like retractable measuring tapes and measure all the way around your head right above your ears. And for me, I know it's 23 inches. That's what I use for all my other hats. So that's what I'm going to be using for this piece here. So what you want to do is once you get that measurement, it's probably going to be, somewhere between 23, 20 inches, somewhere around there. You're going to cut out a whole bunch of strips of tape and apply them so that you have a really long strip, double-sided, no sticky side showing. That is the length of all the way around your head. So this is 23 inches for me. Then what we're going to do is simply going to connect it, which would be right about there. And if I gave myself a little room, I can allow it to connect it like that. And then I'm going to slip it on top of my head and make sure that it fits. Alright, so now it's connected into one long strip. We're going to try that on, make sure it fits, and of course it does. Now what we're going to do is kind of make the skull cap for the safari hat here, and this is kind of the major part of the entire hat. There's a couple ways you can do this. The first way, if you're having someone help you out, like you put this on your head, you can take two strips of tape that are fairly long, stick them together, and when this is sitting on top of your head, this will be your top of your head here, you can have them help you apply these strips all the way across, and of course this has to go all the way across your head and attach them on either side, and you can keep doing that all the way around until you get like a skull cap that has no holes in it or anything like that. If you are trying to do it without putting it on top of your head, if you don't have someone to help you out, you can use just the single strips, which have obviously a sticky part on the side. Now the issue here is that you have to kind of allow a lot of room because you're not really sure exactly how high your head is. So it's kind of tricky to do it this way. I would definitely recommend if you have someone to help you out to do it this way, because this is just going to fall down like that and then it's kind of hard to work from there. So I would definitely recommend if you have someone to help you out, do it this way and just attach these strips all the way across. The reason you can't do it this way if you have someone help you out is because this is your head under here and this is where your hair will be, and if you stick the sticky part against your hair, it's not going to work out too well, I guarantee that. So definitely try to get someone to help you out and do it this way here. So using the helper method, this is exactly what you should probably come up with after a few, crisscross patterns with the strips. So this is what it looks like on the inside. Of course, there's no sticky side showing. It's all, just total tape, double-sided, strips all the way across. Now what you need to do is kind of fill up these gaps in between. And some of them are going to be small enough that you can just take, a piece of duct tape and kind of just stick them on like this. And don't worry too much if it kind of warps and bends in kind of crazy ways, because you guys can always, just trim a little bit and prevent it from doing that. So I have a small piece for that. I'm trying to keep that overall shape of the dome, which is very important because that's going to be the shape of your hat when sitting on top of your head. So I'm going to do this like with all your different pieces. Then you're going to flip it over and you're just going to take another few strips of tape and cover up the sticky side that's on the inside, because that's what's going to be against your head and you don't want your hair to get caught on all those sticky parts. So do that step now. Alright, so the next important part after the dome is of course the brim on the safari hat. So what we're going to do is you're going to try this on one more time. You're going to determine what's the front and what's the back, just based on how you tried it on originally, and notify yourself, kind of familiarize yourself with where the sides are. You might want to take, a permanent marker, mark, F and B for front and back, as well as an S for each of the sides, because the sides will obviously have a much larger brim, and you're probably going to curl those up to kind of give it a cool, safari hat look. So let's work on the brim now. That's what we're going to be doing next. Now this is typically the part where it gets a little confusing, because you're trying to obviously make an even brim all the way around the hat, but at the same time you want it to kind of curve with the hat and be even all the way around. That's kind of where it gets a little tricky. So what I did is I cut out 4 strips of tape that are about, and they're about a little less than 10 inches long, and what I'm going to do is these are going to be the side brim for the hat. So this is the side of the hat right here. It's actually directly where my ear will be, and I'm going to apply it right about there. So I'm going to stick it right about there. Then what I'm going to do is mark it, and this is very important here. Don't push in with your hat at all, because you don't want this to be any different than where it normally lies. And that, of course, will be how far the brim will go out. And then we'll kind of curve it as we get to the rest of the safari hat. So now what we're going to do is we are going to trim exactly where that line is very carefully, making sure that it kind of follows that line. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a few strips of duct tape and we're going to apply that on part of it on here, part of it on the bottom, and we're going to stick that entire square side onto the part of the hat. So we're going to take a few strips and do that right now. So here I just have, 3 strips taping it down. It's not perfect by any means. We're just going to, use that to attach it to so that it stays there, and then we're going to work on the other side. So I'm going to take 4 more strips. I'm going to work with this side here, and then I'm going to take 4 more strips and kind of a little bit smaller. I'm going to work on the bottom piece here. What we want to do is make sure that it's kind of even all the way around. So if you kind of just eyeball it there, it's maybe about 2 inches, and that's kind of how far I want it to be, at least all the way around. That I can trim down to 4 inches. So I'm going to do that all the way around the hat here, just like I did on this side. Alright, so I moved back a little bit on the station so you can totally see what it looks like here. So pretty much you have your dome and sitting on top of these 4 strips, these 4 giant pieces of tape that form kind of like a giant square all the way around the dome here. Now you can tell, they're all connected together. I connected them, with the sides on top of the dome, on the sides of the dome, and I also connected each piece to itself, all the way around. So when I pick this whole thing up, they're all connected and they're not going anywhere. Now what you want to do is you want to take your pen and you want to trace all the way around in kind of like a circular fashion. Make the these things a little wide so you can probably go all the way to the end and then kind of cut back in. And you want to kind of come all the way around and give it a really good circular shape. And that's kind of what you're going for. Don't worry if you mess up with the pen, because you can always, just erase it or just kind of take like a paper towel and just like rub it right off. And of course, you don't have to cut on the pen lines. You can always just, cut wherever you want to. So once you have a good spot, make sure that you're obviously before the edge of the duct tape here. You can always add on a little bit if you want to make it more of a rounded area. You're going to take your pair of scissors, you're going to cut all the way around that line, and that's going to be our next step. Alright, so that's what it looks like once you trim the sides and it's got that cool rounded edge. Now what you can do is take a little bit of craft wire and stick it in the sides. This is the sides of the hat here. And if you put some craft wire in it, you can kind of curl it and it'll stay like that if it has some craft wire. You can also take like a piece of tape and just kind of tape it up to the side. One of the popular Australian styles is to kind of just tape up one side of the hat and leave the other side just open like that. That's what I did at the Duct Tape Festival last year. And of course you can also just tape up both sides if you want to make it look like a traditional safari hat. You can also make like a chin strap for it. That's what I did for the one I wore at the festival. I just used a whole bunch of like small strips of zebra tape, taped one to the inside here and to the other side, and then kind of just had a little cinch strap. I put it over my chin. You can also add just a little bit of color to it. There's a whole bunch of different animal prints that Duck Brand has come out with, like the zebra. I had a zebra stripe all the way around this hat for the festival, and it looks pretty cool. So that's how to make a duct tape safari hat. It's definitely a cool creation. You can definitely go crazy with it and add a whole bunch of cool safari themed tapes to it if you really want to, like like the purple zebra and the pink zebra, regular zebra, green zebra. There's a whole bunch of cool leopard prints as well. So hope you guys liked the video. I'll catch you next time on the channel. Hope you like this tutorial.